Okay, here are the answers to the 412 review preview part 1. So it said solve graphically. So the first thing I did was graph it, and I'm just going to draw like a quick little sketch of what the graph looked like. So my graph was a parabola, looked kind of like this, and then a straight line. And then my solution was where they cross. And it turned out they cross at x equals 1 or 6. Is there more than one way to do this? You could have solved it algebraically, but I wouldn't recommend it. So it says explain, so that's what you would have written there. But if you wrote the ordered pair was actually incorrect, because we're just solving an equation, so our answer should just be the x values. Problem 20C says graph a system of equations to solve that. Show your solutions clearly on your graph. So if I were to graph it again, I graphed the two different ones. It's an absolute value. So it looks something like this, with the graph going through it. So x equals 3 or 6. Again, we're asked to solve an equation, so it's just the x values. Problem 24 says solve each of the following equations using any method. Be sure to check your solutions. So I did this first one by subtracting 7 from both sides. So I got -3, the square root of 2x minus 5 equals -15, divided by -3. Got the square root of 2x minus 5 equals 5, squared both sides. 2x minus 5 equals 25. So I got 2x equals 30 divided by 2, so x equals 15. Problem part B. First I added 10 to both sides. So I got 2, the absolute value of 3x plus 4 equals 22 divided by 2. I got 3x plus 4 equals 11. And 3x plus 4 equals -11 because it's absolute value. So I got x equals 7 over 3. For this one, I should get -15. Or x equals -5. Problem 25, Ted needs to find the point of intersection for the two lines. He takes out a piece of graph paper, realizes he can solve this problem without graphing. Explain how Ted is going to accomplish this. He's going to set them equal to each other. So then solution 18x minus 30 is -22x plus 50. So I add to both sides, I end up with 40x equals 80. So I get x equals 2, but I have to plug it back in. So I get 18 times 2 minus 30, 36 minus 30, or 6. So my answer is 2, 6. Problem 26, consider the arithmetic sequence. So first I have to figure out what I'm going up by. So I kind of have to figure out what my growth is. So I know that I went up 1, 2, 3 times, and it was 33. So I did 33 divided by 3, which is 11. So I'm going by 11. So then I know a minus b equals 11, and a plus b, or I'm sorry, equals 13, because I added 11 to 2. And a plus b equals 24. So then I solve the system. So I get 2a equals 37. So a is going to equal 18.5. and then I plug it back in. So 18.5 plus b equals 24. So I get b equals 5.5. Problem 27, solve the following equations. Be sure to check your answers. So for the first one, I started to graph solve it. So I did, at first I added x to both sides. So I get the square root of 2x minus 1 equals x minus 8. So then I squared them. So this side I got 2x minus 1, but on this side I needed to multiply it out. So x squared, negative 8x, 64. So I got x squared minus 16x plus 64. So I moved everything on this side over to this side by subtracting. So I got x squared minus 18x plus 65 equals 0. So then I factored it and got x minus 13, x minus 5. So x is going to be equal so x equals 13 or 5. So then I plug them back in because I have to check to make sure none are extraneous. So 13 worked, but 5 did not. So actually, my only answer is x equals 13. Part B, I added x to both sides. So I got the square root of 2x minus 1 equals x, squared them both. So I got 2x minus 1 equals x squared, moved everything over. X squared minus 2x plus 1. So I factored it. So I ended up with just 1 as my answer. So x equals 1, plugged it back in. 2 minus 1 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1, minus 1 is 0, so it does work. So x equals 1. For the next problems, I used the Pythagorean theorem. So I did x squared plus 15x for 15 squared equals 39 squared. So I got x squared equals 1,296, square rooted both sides. So x equals 36. B, I did the same thing. So I did it with x squared equals 800. Squared both sides. So I got x equaled 28.3, about.